Okay, what we saw in the previous video is writing a one line of command directly into the interpreter, and we saw how that thing was executed. But what if I want to write a big program that will require many statements, not only one single statement like we saw in the previous video? How can I do that? Well, we can do that using a Python program or file. Okay, have all these commands in one file, and then we can run that. We're gonna see how can we do that. But before we start, let's take a look and see how that thing is going to be executed. So if you have all your program in one file, what the interpreter is going to do is going to start from the beginning, the first line in your command, in your file, and it's going to execute the code line by line, and it's going to display to you the result as it's going through the code line by line in the file. What is usually in the file? The file has some type of statements, like we saw before when you write a statement directly to the interpreter, and also it's going to have some type of expressions such as like calculations, that we calculate something and then you evaluate it, and then it's going to be stored or displayed. Also it's going to have assignments like we saw before when we assigned the variable x and y to values. And when you use assignment, you always make sure that you use a single equal sign. Okay, we have also sometimes we have print statements. This is where you display the information or the data in the screen. Okay, and we have also variables. We saw that before. You can have different variables. You can have multiple variables, as many as you need in your program. And we saw that when we did in the interpreter. We have different variables. We have x and we have y. Also, we have comment, which is very, very important. Comments, these are lines that you type yourself for explanation about what's going on in the program. And these comments are not going to be executed. Why they are not going to be executed? Because they're going to start with a hashtag. So when the interpreter goes through your program file to execute line by line, if the line is going to start with a hashtag, it's going to be considered as a comment and is going to be skipped. So it's not going to be executed. So this is very important practice for us. Every time you write a program, and if your program has a lot of statements and a lot of expressions, and you feel like the program is getting bigger, so you need to explain some part of it as you write the program, use the comments. Okay, and you can add as many comments as you want. Okay, so let's go ahead and see before we start writing our simple program, which is going to be just printing one line of information, okay, or one line of text. Before you do that, it's very good practice, as I said, for documentation to write comments, and that makes it easier for you when you come back again to read the program and try to see what the program is going to do. So it's easy to remember what the program you're working on right now. But if you go back again to the program after a couple of weeks, for example, you will be probably confused about what the program is going to do. So that's very good practice to do. Okay, you can do it either with a hashtag, or you can write multiple lines of comments. A hashtag is going to give you a comment for a single line. If you want to write multiple lines, you can do that by starting this comment section with 3 quotation marks, and you close it with another 3 quotation marks. Okay, let's take a look over here. Here we have different examples, and we're going to try to print that in one program, in one file. Okay, so let's go ahead to idle, where we used before, and to start a file, you want to go to File over here, click on File, and then you want to click a New File, and then it's going to open this window for you. Here where you can type your program. You can have multiple lines, and if you type multiple lines, the interpreter is going to go through this file and execute line by line. Okay, so let's say, for example, here I'm going to say print, and again, print is a function, built-in function, and this built-in function is going to display something in the screen for you. Okay, so I'm going to print between parentheses and between quotation mark, I'm going to say hello world. Okay, and I'm going to have another print statement, and again, once you open it, you need to close it right away. I'm going to say between quotation marks, this is my first Python program. Okay, so I have two lines. If I write them into the interpreter, first I have to type this line first, and then it's going to show me hello world, and then I have to type this line again, and then it's going to show me this is my first Python. But in this way, when I have it in a file, I can save that. Okay, I can save it, save as, and then I'm going to name it. I'm going to say first program. Okay, so this is the name of the program, is first program. Okay, and now it's saved. Now I want to run it. When I want to run it, I go to the option run, and then the first option I have when I click on it says run module or F5. Okay, when I hit that, it's going to go to the shell and it's going to run it, and it's going to display these two lines I have, or what the program's supposed to do. In my example, just to print very simple 2 lines, okay, of text. So this is how you create the first program. I want you to try this program by yourself right now and try to notice the result. And here in the slides, it just explains to you exactly what I did over there. Okay, created, went to files, and I went to file, the new file, then I get the window. I typed my program, then I saved it, then I went to run, and I choose run module, and the program was displayed in the shell. Okay, here's another program. I want you guys to take a look at this one, and I want you to try it. But this program has some comments I added here. Okay, when you add comments, you want to start with a hashtag. So this comment line is recognized by Python because of this sign, same as the other line. Okay, if I want to have 2 lines, I have to have 2 hashtags at the beginning of each line. One important thing at this point, we are just writing simple programs. You want to make sure the programs that you write, all of them, they start from the same column. So do not add a space over here or add multiple spaces or whatever. You want to make sure they are in the same column. Okay, we're going to talk about the indentation later in this course, but at this point we are writing the programs just to make them simple like this way. Okay, so here is another program over here. It's asking you to write again, to start a new file, and then you want to call it some name, and then you want to just print out some statements that will tell you, hello, here's some math, and then you have 2 numbers, and then you write the result, and then you have another 2 numbers, and then you write the result of the negative or the minus of these 2 numbers. Okay, how can I do that? Very simple. I can go here, and I can see over here what the program is supposed to do is, hello, here is some math. Okay, so I'm going to do that in the same program. I'm going to say hello. Here is some math. And then I have 2 variables. I have x, that is equal, for example, to 3. And then I have y, that is equal to 2. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to print statement. I'm going to say z, for example, equal. One of good practice is when you write some type of expression, it's okay, it's better actually to add extra space between the signs to make it easier for you to read. So I'm going to say this is equal to x times y, and then I'm going to say over here, I'm going to print it out just as it shows over here in the example. I'm going to say x, comma, between quotation marks, times, comma, y, comma, between quotation marks, is, comma, z. And run the program. And let's see if it's going to give us correct result. It's going to tell me save it. Yes, save it. Here it is. I will leave the second line for you to complete it yourself. And this is the end of the idle.